Okay, section 5.3, parallel and perpendicular lines. Now, a bit of advice here. Look carefully through the videos for the first part of this exercise. Do exercise 5, for this chapter rather, do exercise 5D really carefully. From that point onwards, this is just a little extra information, not a lot. It shouldn't be a lot more difficult here. If you're getting stuck for the first time in this chapter on exercise 5F, that's probably because you've not done 5D well enough. Okay, so do 5D carefully before you come on to this. Once you understand everything in section 5.1 and 5.2, there's not much to add here. There's two extra facts. One, we should know if you've got parallel gradients, if you've got parallel lines, the gradient is the same. Okay, and that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? If it's got the same steepness, then the lines are parallel. That's kind of what parallel means. That's kind of what steepness means. Now, if you've got the two lines in the y equals mx plus c form, it's very easy to spot. You just look at the coefficient of the x and work it out from there. If you don't have the two lines that you're comparing in that form, you need to rearrange them. So the example they give us in the textbook is something that looks like that. And then in example 10, they show that in order to rearrange it, we're going to have to, well, in order to find the gradient, rather, we're going to have to rearrange it into the y equals mx plus c version of that. So just watch out for that one now that we've got this new ax plus by plus c equals 0 version of the straight line. We might have to rearrange. The other fact, which hopefully is familiar to you from GCSE, is that if two lines are perpendicular, then the gradient of the first one times the gradient of the second one equals -1. Now that's the way that I prefer to state this fact. A lot of people prefer it like this. The gradient of the first one is -1 over the gradient of the second one. I prefer to say the two gradients multiply to make -1. A lot of people like the phrase negative reciprocal, so 1 divided by and then put a minus sign in front of it. I shy away from that a little bit. There's nothing technically wrong with it, but when I hear reciprocal, I tend to think about fractions, and the gradient doesn't have to be given to you as a fraction. Okay, it often is, but it isn't absolutely always. So I tend to be a little bit careful with the negative reciprocal, but there's no problem with that. The best way to see this, if you're not sure, is the diagram that's on page 98 that looks something like this. If these two lines are at 90 degrees, the gradient of this line is a divided by b. And then just imagine a rotation of this. So this all rotates round 90 degrees. What you're going to end up with is that line there would end up here, that line there would end up here, this distance would be a and this distance would be b. So the gradient of this line is obviously a over b. The gradient of this line is, well, the change in y is b, the change in x is a, so b over a, but actually the y change is now a negative change, isn't it? It's gone down. Or just look at the lines. Look, this one's positive and this one's negative. So the gradient of this line is a over b, the gradient of this one is minus b over a, and there's the result, right? If you do that times that, you get -1. Or if you like, this one is -1 over this one. Saying again, and I am repeating myself, but I'm doing it because I think this is important. This is where a lot of people get stuck. If you have done up to section 5.2 and you've done exercise 5D carefully, all we're doing in section 5.3 is throwing in those two extra little facts. That doesn't mean the questions are easy, but it should mean that if you can do 5D, the questions aren't any harder, okay? If you're trying to rush through the chapter and you're jumping straight into exercise 5F or straight into the next exercise and getting stuck, build it up one stage at a time. All the difficult ideas are in exercise 5D. They get slightly harder stage by stage after that, but one little stage at a time if you do the exercises one at a time. Okay, section 5.4 in the next video.